everyone, and welcome to Fort McHenry here in Baltimore, Maryland. One of my favorite music lessons to teach always happens to be one of the first lessons of the school year. The first song we learn about and sing is a very important part of American music history. It started out as a poem and quickly became a very popular patriotic song. So popular, in fact, it was later adopted as this country's national anthem. Of course, I'm talking about the Star Spangled Banner. The American flag that we fly today contains 50 stars and 13 stripes. The 50 stars represent the 50 states in America, and the 13 stripes represent the 13 original colonies that gave this country its start. The name Star Spangled Banner refers to a very specific flag design. The flag is unique in that it has 15 stars and 15 stripes. In this case, both the stars and stripes represent the 15 states that existed in America in 1814. The flag was gigantic. It was 30 feet tall and 42 feet long. Each star was 2 feet in diameter, and each stripe was 2 feet tall. It was known as a garrison flag, and it flew over Fort McHenry near Baltimore, Maryland. It was so large, it could easily be seen from miles away. Baltimore, Maryland was a major port city for America, and on September 12, 1814, the Battle of Baltimore began. The British, wearing their traditional red wool uniforms, landed troops at North Point and began marching towards the city. The Americans, wearing their traditional blue wool uniforms, took up defensive positions around the city of Baltimore and inside Fort McHenry to stop the British advance. Fort McHenry was a large fortification protecting the waters around Baltimore. The British Navy fleet had anchored roughly 2 miles out from the fort, and at 6:30 a.m. on September 13th, they began their attack. For the next 25 hours, the British bombarded the fort and the surrounding defenses. The Congreve rockets and exploding shells lit up the sky throughout the night, making the flag visible with each powerful flash. By 8 a.m. the next morning, on September 14th, the British bombardment had ceased. Francis Scott Key, an American lawyer and poet, was aboard one of the British ships the night the bombardment took place. After witnessing the battle unfold and end, he wrote what he saw and how he felt on a piece of paper the next morning. His poem was just 4 stanzas long. Here we see the poem written in his own handwriting. It would be published in the local Baltimore papers a few days after the battle had ended. The poem was set to the tune Anacreon in Heaven.
To Anacreon in heaven, where he sat in full glee, a few sons of harmony sent a petition that he their inspirer and patron would be. When this answer arrived from the jolly old Grecian, voice, fiddle, and flute no longer be mute. I'll lend you my name and inspire you to boot, and besides I'll instruct you like me to entwine the myrtle of Venus with Bacchus's vine. And besides I'll instruct you like me to entwine the myrtle of Venus with Bacchus's vine.
As popular as the poem and song was, the actual flag became an object of fascination as well. While the flag suffered minimal damage from the bombardment as well as general use, most of the damage came from people cutting pieces off of the flag to keep as souvenirs. Military officers and their families who served at Fort McHenry, as well as other people who had proven service to the country, were offered or requested cuttings from the flag. In all, over 8 feet of the fly edge and 1 star have been cut away from the Star Spangled Banner. Today, what is left of the 206-year-old flag has been preserved, safely stored, and is on display at a special exhibit in the Smithsonian's National Museum of American History, located in Washington, D.C. For more information about this great piece of American history, please visit amhistory.si.edu/Star Spangled Banner. Francis Scott Key wrote his poem, Defense of Fort McHenry, after the battle had taken place. When we look at the words to his poem, we can see that stanza number 1 represents the past, or the battle that took place on September 13th. Stanza number 2 describes the present, or the moment the flag could be seen flying high above Fort McHenry. Stanza number 4 represents the future, who we are as a people and a country, and what we're going to do to move our nation forward. Today, we're going to take a look at the words to verse number 1 of the Star Spangled Banner. These are the words that we sing when we perform our national anthem. The first statement refers to the sight that Francis Scott Key had aboard the British ship as he looked towards Fort McHenry. He was stating how he could see the flag flying in the early hours of the morning on September 13th before the bombardment began, and how the people of Baltimore hailed or saluted the flag as the sun began to set while the battle raged on. This next section is a question whether that enormous flag, those 2-foot-tall broad stripes, and the 2-foot-tall bright stars, is still up and flying. Without modern-day lights to shine on the flag, it was a question that many in Baltimore were asking. The word "or" is a shortened version of the word "over." The ramparts refer to the fort walls, and the words "gallantly streaming" is a poetic way of saying waving in the breeze. Notice he ends the line with a question mark. At this point in the fight, it was unclear to Francis Scott Key or anyone else in Baltimore whether the flag was still waving or not. All through the night, the British Congreve rockets and the massive mortar bombs flashed in the sky and would offer a split second of proof that, indeed, the Star Spangled Banner was still there. On September 14th, as the sun began to rise, the New England coastal fog started rolling in. The British ceased firing. Francis Scott Key writes this next question: is the flag still waving over the land of the free and the home of the brave? At this point in the story, Key does not know whether the British have stopped firing because they successfully captured the fort, or if they had run out of ammunition and failed the attack. In that moment of uncertainty, Francis Scott Key ends his first stanza with a question mark. A question of, is the flag still there? Does it still wave over the land of the free and the home of the brave? Now, follow along with the words in the book and try your best to sing along with the words to our national anthem.